Okay.
Hello, everybody. This is Ann White, and I am the host of this program, which is Notes from Spirit, and I'm here with Nadya Rubin Schubert. Without Nadya, there would be no show because Nadya is our spirit scribe. She goes into a trance and does automatic writing and comes up with these incredible notes from spirit. And just so you know, from a technical point of view, we're doing something different today because we weren't able to use Google Hangouts. And that seems to be a common, technical problems are always common when I'm working with Nadya. But I do think, Nadya, that part of it is just your energy doesn't seem to work with technical things.
I don't know, but I remember burning up 2 new computers one year. So the company finally told me they're not sending me another one, or if they do, they should have another person set it up.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes I find that when I'm working with intuitives or channels, that the normal things we use to do video oftentimes give us more challenges. So I do think there's something to energy. So we're going to give this a go on a different program, different technological program. So we're not on Google Hangouts, as you're going to see if you try to go there to find us. But Nadya, we've had requests to bring this show back, and especially with this writing. You shared this writing with quite a few of your friends and got quite an amazing result.
Yeah, multiple feedback. It was very interesting. So this will be a common situation for a lot of people living with arranging their time in a very busy way every day so that they feel either productive or they don't have to think about what they don't want to think about. Exactly. And this kind of woke them up and said, I never thought I did that before, but maybe I do. So this writing definitely is a benefit.
And it's a great one then to start our comeback with. And what we're going to be doing is coming to you every other month. And in the meantime, we are working on a book with Nadya's Notes from Spirit. There are 3 books out there already on Amazon. One is We Are With You Always with Love. One is We Are Truth, We Are Love, We Are You. And the other is Notes from Spirit. But this one we're going to do in a little bit different format. We're going to be organizing it by topic with points to ponder. It's going to be more like a primer on Notes from Spirit. So we're real excited about it, but we're going to be working on it. So you will see us with this show, hopefully, twice a month or every other Wednesday. And this program, this reading that we're going to do, the Get Together Change, we're sort of titling it, giving it a topic to help you put it into your life, because sometimes these readings are so broad that it takes a little time for humans to really, I'm getting spirituals all over, to really apply it. So this one is called Make Time for You. And the prelude is really busy, busy, busy. Is your calendar filled with must-dos, should-dos, gotta-dos? And at the end of the day, you have spent not a moment with yourself. So in this reading, take the time to feel what alone time would feel to you and see what kind of benefits you're going to get from connecting yourself with your higher guides. And Nadya, share this beautiful reading with us.
I'd be happy to. Thanks, Ann. Togetherness. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to your friends? How does it affect your daily lives, your weekly lives, or your monthly lives? Do you need to be together with friends, relatives, or even strangers? Do you feel the difference between being in your alone space and being in your together space? Do you feel you have to give up something to be together with someone and not have to give up anything when you are spending time alone? Is one really a lonely number, or does it offer you the space to do what your heart wants you to do with no interruption or deviation of any kind, bringing you a quiet time to ponder and take your thoughts to a higher level? Does it offer you a clearer path to getting to know yourself better than you ever did before? Is it a sanctuary of sorts to be alone and not feeling anything except your inner thoughts, those thoughts that are always waiting for you to tap into and rarely have the time due to all the constraints in your life each day, week, and month? Does your alone time offer you the ability to truly examine what makes your life so busy that you cannot take a small amount of time each day to find your quiet space and allow yourself to tap into your quiet thoughts, waiting to share themselves with your awareness? When you begin to examine your schedule each day, do you not find that the many things you have dedicated yourself to each day are not necessarily as important as you may have thought they were at one time? For the more you take that special time for yourself each day to ponder and adapt what you ponder into your daily life, the less you feel you will need to keep you busy. Your focus on what is important to you, truly important to you, begins to feel better and more worthy of your time than all the other things you felt were important. And have you not realized that the amount of time and the many things you fill your time with are being shown to you as a way of either filling in your day with nothing you can even remember the next day, or keeping you from focusing on the present, what your life is all about, all the questions you ask yourself every once in a while and don't want to hear the answers. Using your busy schedule to buffer you between your reality and your higher self, afraid to take the time to curb your pre-planned days and instead allow yourself to be in a space that takes you away from your daily schedule and into a higher realm of awareness suitable for your growth and expansion of higher thought, prospering from it through the daily practice of working with us, whether it be a minute or two or more. It does not matter, for as you begin to work with us, the more gentle and joyous your life becomes. And as you live in your new reality each and every day, we'll begin to look at the higher roads in all the directions you take, leaving the lower ones alone, no longer needing them to quell you through your trials and tribulations. Yes, it is a practice of sorts, and after a while no longer feels like a practice, as it will begin to feel more like your true self than ever before, and wonder why it took you so long to get there. We wish you a long and kind day, filled with the perfume of your newest adventure, your connection to spirit, and the wonders we can bring to you. Now I got the chills.
Pretty interesting writing for a number of reasons. First of all, you probably got the feedback from your friends. It speaks to probably most of us in that sense. And, you know, I think what they're telling us, too, is by being so busy, we are hiding from our true selves. And by looking at our busyness, there's a lot of filler in our day that doesn't need to be done. That's not important. That's not in our highest good. And so I think that it's interesting to say, take a look at your day and then make that time to be in the present, because it says it's keeping you from being in the present, and that's what your life is all about.
I think, you know, growing up, though, I remember feeling I had to be productive. I would go to school, I would come home, I would do my homework, I would do some social time for an hour, I'd have dinner, I'd do something else. I mean, I was always doing. I don't remember ever sitting quietly and thinking. And I was told in a certain way that that's a waste of time.
Right.
You have to be productive. You have to be able to educate yourself, to make money, to take care of yourself. This whole idea of self-examination was never brought into the picture. But here I have people who have read this, and some of them have come back. One person said something like, what a great adventure if we could do that. And another person was talking about this situation between her and her friend, and they were discussing loneliness and solitude. And it just goes on and on, where this whole week, somehow people have been discussing this issue. And the writing occurred, which is something phenomenal in its own way.
That kind of seems to happen, doesn't it?
Right. But it is true. So you grow up thinking this way. So when do you feel? I remember telling my doctor one day, I felt so sick. I had such a bad cold. I said, I can't do anything. So I sat down and read a book for an hour at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Isn't that ridiculous? And he looks at me and he says, I don't think it was ridiculous for your body. Number one, you needed to rest. And number two, where does it say anywhere that you can't sit for an hour and read a book?
At 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
At 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I looked at him, I said, you're right. I mean, I never really thought about it. It just wouldn't happen. So now, along with this writing and some other work I've been doing, I try to take an hour a day and not do anything. Just kind of sit by myself. And sometimes that gets me in trouble because I'll go to an annoying or not a happy place, and then I have no one to talk to because I'm by myself. But sometimes I always actually feel better. It's almost as if I get to a point where I first have to figure out what it is that's bothering me. Because sometimes I don't know what's bothering me. I just kind of bury it in all the things that we do. Then once I figure out what's bothering me, and it has to do with another person, and the other person doesn't want to get involved, what do I do? Mm-hmm. And then once that happens, you have choices, I decided. You can either let it go, what's bothering you, because you're not going to get any help from the other person. Identify it, let it go, and stop trying to control
Bingo.
Whatever the purpose or intention was.
Bingo. I think, too, surrender is a choice. Surrender and let spirit open other doors for you. In that sense, because as humans, we want to control everything. We want to fix everything. And it's our ego that says we're going to understand it and take it apart and fix it. Whereas some of these notes from spirit that you've been sharing with us sort of say, breathe it in, open it up, and surrender to what will happen, because sometimes what we're forcing is not in our greater good. And sometimes spirit just opens it up in a whole new way. Or as you know, your answers come to you, sometimes when you expect them and sometimes when you don't. So sometimes it could be in a writing even. And this one, it just sort of came to you in a different way that you were working with.
You think they were talking to me?
Yeah, of course they're talking to you, girl. But, here's the shift that they did. They were talking at the beginning, first of all, about togetherness with another person. Mm-hmm. Then toward the middle, they get to being by ourselves, and how then we put up blocks to being together with spirit. And so it sounds like at the middle that we should just sit and meditate. But then toward the end, they say, for as you begin working with us. And so really that's what being quiet is allowing the connection with spirit, allowing the connection with spirit to fill us and then direct us. And you mentioned an hour a day. And one of the things when I talk to people about spirit, try 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. We can all do 5 minutes. And if your 5 minutes is feeling good, do 10. But if 5 minutes is all you have and you can connect, that will charge your battery, and maybe midday you'll have 5 more minutes. And maybe when you go to bed, you'll have 5.
Even a minute could be enough for most people. I mean, that hour isn't spent, discussing with spirit, anything. That's the point. I just didn't
want people to get scared to say, oh, I don't even have
No.
When I used to teach the nurses, I used to start a timer and say, get them in and say, everybody's got 1 minute. And the minute was beautiful. I think, when we can bring our focus in, time is perspective.
Don't they also say something about a minute or two? All you need to do is practice, or maybe it's another writing. But that's all they tell you in the beginning. A minute or two is fine. If you can. I don't even know how to tell people to clear their minds, but I see that you made one of your points to ponder, how to sit and breathe. Do you want to tell everybody about that?
Right, because I had a couple of suggestions. First of all, if you're new to sitting quiet, one of the things that I think would be interesting, and it's a practice I do because I've got a crazy mind, most of us do, is to sit and then just be aware of all of the thoughts that are going through your mind. This isn't the connecting one, but this is a good practice to get you used to it. So you'll get a thought, I need butter at the grocery store. Okay, fine, let it go. Did I turn off the iron? Fine, let it go. Tomorrow I'm going to, all the random thoughts, just sort of let them go, but be aware and acknowledge them to see what's going on in your brain. So that's a good practice, just to see the clutter that we have. But then when we get to the connection, and again, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Sometimes I set my my phone for 5 minutes just because I don't want to be disturbing myself to think, is it 5 minutes? Is it 5 minutes? But to clear your mind, do a mantra. And a mantra can be as easy as breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Or inhale, exhale. I am safe, I am loved. That's the one I use in my personal meditation. But it's a matter of being quiet. And in that quietness, I think, is where we just set our intention to open up. I don't think we're going to get an answer in that minute, but we're going to get it. Don't you think?
I don't know about an answer, but I think sometimes we'll get a vision of something or a feeling about something that we haven't addressed before because we're so busy we didn't even know it was there. A feeling on what direction we might want to go. We don't even know why, but it's just a feeling. I don't know what's easier for different people. You know, they might find different things easier, how they come through.
And, you know, that's true. That's very true because some people will actually see colors, shapes. And if people are watching this and you get into a situation where you are in your meditation seeing colors, shapes, designs, anything at all, contact us because Nadya and I both had a teacher named Vicki White, no relation, who was very good, was spot on at taking those symbols that you might see and helping you to understand them. For me, when I sit in meditation, nothing happens. Not a thing. And you would almost think one could get discouraged, but what I've learned over the years of working with spirit is that to be alert, because in the next day, maybe, hours, day, I will see something that's out of place. And then I'll see it again, usually in threes, as we know. And then I realize, okay, this is something I should follow. And oftentimes it is the answer or the direction or whatever. It's something I need to know and something I need to do. So I don't know, Nadya, do you get,
well, for me,
when you meditate, you get downloads sometimes, though. You get complete downloads when you meditate.
This kind of meditation is more working with spirit. It's more like an occupation. It's something that we do, and I set up a schedule. I actually tell them I'm going to be with them at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning, and we make time. And it usually flushes through. I say my affirmations, and it flushes through in 15, 20 minutes, just the way it comes out. I think what happens to me is if I deliberately try to work with them or deliberately try to see if I could sit and connect with them consciously, I don't get anything really. But what happens is my confirmations that they're around, because that's all it is simply. They're not going to tell you where the Dead Sea Scrolls are buried. I mean, there's not going to be any earth-shattering information.
The lottery numbers for this week are 7.
Right, exactly. That's not their connection. Their connection is to let us know that they're connecting with us. And so it could be as simple as confirming something you were thinking about in a certain way. So for me, it's like it comes in threes. I'll be thinking about something I'm not sure of. Someone will tell me something about what I was thinking about. Then the next day, something else will happen either right in front of me that identifies what I was thinking about. And maybe on the third day, I get another. Once I get 3 confirmations, whether it's someone mentioning that or not, I know that's their way of telling me that they're around me, consciously or not. Because when I do the work, I'm not really conscious. I'm in a very deep zone, and I don't really hear anything or think about anything. I don't even know what I'm writing until it comes out. So, but to consciously work like that with them doesn't really come through. Unless it's supposed to. Like, remember when I was in California, I went into the bedroom, I felt tired for some reason in the middle of the day, and I picked up a pad of paper and just started scribbling on it for no intentional reason. And 5 minutes later, I realized I wrote a paragraph about something.
And the other thing, Nadya, because I know you, Nadya and I are friends, and I used to live in St. Petersburg with her, we would be at restaurants, remember one, the Banyan Tree, sitting there, and all of a sudden you start getting a download. So, you know, you have a very different connection than many of us do, but it comes to you at different times. Like you'll get a knowing or a spirit chill when it's something that you're on track or on target.
It's a spontaneous thing. So it isn't dedicated other than for my meetings with them on Sunday morning, or if I start writing more often, again, setting up the meetings. I guess that's just the way it works for us. But that's the job, and that's what I'm supposed to be doing, just like you do what you're supposed to be doing. and you do it so well, or I wouldn't be here right now, I have to say. But the amazing part is, if people would only take that minute that you were talking about and see how they feel after that minute, just let themselves sit there for another minute and see how they feel. It's almost like the angst of whatever you were upset about seems to just melt down to something that's not really important anymore. I don't know how that works, but I think it's the energy field around you that just softens everything within you.
Right. And they tell us, too, that it is a practice. So it's not like you're going to do it on Monday and then your whole world is going to be different. It works better if you can give yourself that minute, 5 minutes, whatever is comfortable for you, at least once a day, maybe even twice a day. And if you're only doing like a minute, how wonderful is it to just sit and catch up with yourself? And use it like that. But as I say, we all react different to spirit. So if you are getting in your meditation any kind of messages and want help, we can direct you to a teacher. But if you get nothing, it's okay, because I would get frustrated because I was working with Vicki. What did you see? Nothing. What did you hear? Nothing. But I knew that if I'm alert, it'll come. You know, sometimes a day, 2 days, a week, but it all opens up. It's all there. So that's why I keep doing it. But one more thing, it's sort of like when we get, like, suppose you're doing yoga regularly, and then you get too busy and too tense and can't go. Well, duh, that's the time you should go. And I think that's the same with meditation. Oh, I don't have time. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to do this. I have no time. Well, that's the time you need to sit for a minute or 2 or 5.
And you're right, because I missed my yoga classes for like a couple of months now. Because
you're too busy.
And I made the decision, right, I am going back no matter what. No matter what. And once I do that, it doesn't make any difference what's coming on. I'm sorry, I'm going to yoga. I may not be going out for dinner with you tonight, whatever the case might be. But didn't you said that you get it all different ways. Didn't you write a whole book on your ship excursion a couple of years ago?
Yeah. I do have a book. It's called Living with Spirit Energy, and I was going to write a different book. I had an 18-day cruise, and this book just came. It didn't come like Nadya's come through a complete download, but it was very driven by spirit. So I would have to play with it, and then all of a sudden I would feel a spirit pop when they would give it to me. So it was 18 days, a complete book, and it's called Living with Spirit Energy. So that was one way. And yeah, I keep thinking, wouldn't it be great to do it again? But, you know, we do different things. Me coming to Sheboygan was very spirit-driven. And the way I know it was there were absolutely no roadblocks. And it really felt like Moses crossing the Dead Sea. I have allergies, so I'm going to... But when we drove up from Florida to Wisconsin, it was during all of those blizzards every week. And for some reason, our little caravan, it seems like the snow's parted. It was a beautiful day for the 3 days we drove. Snow before us, snow after us, all along the trip. And I thought, if that isn't just so amazing, that it was meant to be.
Well, it's so amazing that anyone would pick, you know, living in Sheboygan over everything else in the United States that you could have chosen to live in. But I understand it, having been there once, and look forward to coming again in the summer when it's warm. It's a charming town, and the energy in the town feels very, very good.
I think there's some beautiful vortexes around here, energy.
Something, yeah. Like Sedona. If you go to Sedona, you feel good in Sedona. Look, I'm getting really big bumps now. Really, really, like you could stay there forever.
Now we have a slight break. Okay, come here. Come here. And now we're back.
Okay.
And this is Riley, who's been sitting behind me where I was trying to keep him quiet. But
I got you so fluffy. I didn't realize how much fur. Oh, my goodness.
Well, you know, with dachshunds, and this will just be a little spirit break, but there are 3 different kinds. There are short hair, there are long hair, and then there are wire. And then there's Riley, who is fluff. He's like a dandelion just before it blows. So he just got stupid Riley hair.
Wow. I almost thought of that as a winter fur coat, and then he sheds it off for the summer.
It was puppy fur. And then I realized now that he's over a year old, this is just some stupid ass hair he's got.
He doesn't shed that in the summer, huh?
I don't know. He didn't last summer, but he was a puppy. Yeah, he's 1 year old now.
Amazing.
And, you know, I think Spirit had Riley come into my life because I have another dog, Lex, but I was dealing with a broken heart and all sorts of internal trauma. And when I would cry, Lex would look at me like, put on your big girl pants and get over it. You know, and then Riley came in. And he was a big part of my healing. So I think Spirit sort of sent him. The worst dog I've ever had, but the most lovable. Yeah,
He's your baby. He's your baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he was a gift from Spirit. It came when I needed him. It wasn't what I planned. Sometimes things in life are not what they planned.
A lot of time.
Yeah.
A lot of time. So
I'm so glad that we're doing this. I sure hope this works. And if it does, we may do it like this again. And we'll try it every 2 weeks. And in the meantime, you can get a hold. It's probably better to contact me if you have questions, and I'll get with Nadya. And you can always reach me at ANN, at creatingcalmnetwork.com. And especially if you're meditating and have questions, or if you're seeing things, colors and shapes, we can direct you to a teacher who is just awesome with that. You still study with her if you want.
Yeah. Yes.
Anything else on your mind? I'm glad you're back, Nadya. I'm glad we took a break.
I'm glad we took a break, and I'm glad we're back. It feels very good. I'm glad that we could be of service to the universe in our own way together. It makes it all very interesting and loving, and I cherish this time together. So I'm so glad we could do this show.
And I think in this time I had more spirituals than I've had in a long time. I think you were having them too. So I guess it's a confirmation from Spirit that, because a lot of the times with these writings, they are typically for Nadya first, and then they're to share with all of us. But we keep getting messages, and maybe we'll find some of those other writings that say, please continue to share. Or with Nadya, please continue to meet with us. Mm-hmm. And I think this was another one of those messages, even though it was couched in our, like, for us to find time. It's also very important for Spirit to connect with material beings. It's, they tell us oftentimes that it's very important to them to connect with us.
Right, because if they don't do it often enough, their energy field will keep rising faster and faster. It'll be harder to connect to our physical environment because from what I understand, they have to slow their energies down and help us to increase our energy so that we can connect. But they need to do this often to maintain the dignity of that type of energy. And the less they do that, I asked my teacher many times, how come I can't connect with those who have died 10 years ago or 15 years ago? Well, they're not connecting with physical beings anymore. They've gone to a different level of energy field, and they can't do it anymore. However, according to her, they could give it to messages to someone closer to this field that will come through with information. So if anyone has ever had the ability to receive some foreign kind of message for someone, or felt that someone was coming through them that they knew but they weren't sure who it was, it could have been someone that's related to them but could not come in their own and had another person be the messenger of the information.
I think you got some kind of 60s spirit, though, because they had one is really a lonely number.
Right, isn't it amazing?
That song.
One lonely number. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, so I think
I haven't thought of that if I want to.
One of the caveats, and I've said this on different shows, is I know Nadya very well, and I know that these are not her thoughts. Oftentimes, not even your vocabulary. They'll put in some, I don't think we have an ancient word in here today. Sometimes there'll be an ancient word. I didn't catch one here. But it's certainly not
the loneliest number. That one is the loneliest number. It threw me off. I'm like, why would I say that? I mean, it's a song.
Yeah.
But it might be their way of just letting you know. Yeah, you didn't say it. We're telling you, so just listen.
And we even heard that song before.
Right. I don't even know if I like the song. One is the loneliest number. Anyway,
okay.
We're finding out it isn't really lonely, that we always are together with those who crossed over.
Exactly. Take care, everybody. Namaste, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. And if you need to reach us, contact me at Ann at creatingcalmnetwork.com. Thank you, Nadya.
Thank you all.